quote by Shakespeare. If a rifle is on a wall in a play and it wasn't fired within 2 acts or scenes, something to that effect, it should never have existed in the first place. All right, I'm going to be referring back to that quote. And the quote is talking about literary agents in stories. And Shakespeare, who many consider to be the greatest playwright of all time, was of the opinion that things should not be futile when you put them in a movie, a play, a narrative structure. And you can take that a couple of ways. One of the ways that you can take it is you can be of the opinion that if something is put into a narrative structure and it wasn't used, like it was just sort of a dead end, a literary dead end, a symbolic dead end, you can say that it was a mistake by the part of the screenplay, by the part of the screenwrites or the game designers or the novelist or whatever. Alternatively, you can take the computer science perspective, and there's an axiom of computer science that says the function of a program is what it does. And I think I talked about this in my Twitter video, wherein I said, the function of Twitter is what it does. It's not what it was theoretically on paper intended to do. So you can look at a character that's put into a literary work that is essentially irrelevant as an attempt to convey something that is completely unnecessary. So, for instance, let's look at one of the stereotypical tropes, one of the ones that feminists always bitch about, a Bond girl, right? So in James Bond movies, historically, these are movies about the epitome of masculinity. James Bond, he's like Batman. He's very, very smart. He's very, very physically powerful. He's like the most interesting man in the world trope, Giga Chad. And he always has a woman who just like pops in, he has sex with her, maybe she tells him some useful information, and then she pops out. This is what would be called, in literary terms, an object character. And this is why when people who are less educated always say things like, oh, well, they're objectifying people, what they mean is they're turning them into an object character. And the function of an object character is one-dimensional. Like the function of this chair I'm sitting on right now is not, it has no depth. It has no multi-dimensional existence. Its function is to sit on. And that's exactly how I'm using it. Now, if I were to take this chair and turn it into an abstract art piece, it would be less of an object character in this story if I was making a story about a chair. I don't know why I would be doing that. But if I were, there would have to be something about the chair beyond its utility as a place for me to sit. So, I would argue that a Bond girl still has some function, even if she is sort of a one-dimensional character, and her function is to express the idea of the epitome of masculinity that is James Bond. And it's true that she has about as much function as his gun, maybe less. But, we don't complain about a gun only having one function. it points, it shoots, and she points at James Bond. And that's her role in that movie. And that's fine. Now, people might not like that, but it doesn't really matter. They might as well get angry about the gun having only one purpose in that movie, which is to point and shoot at bad guys. This being said, I was playing a game recently, the new World of Warcraft expansion. I'm a gamer, sorry. And there were some characters in it that felt a bit like object characters. Now, Blizzard has caught some flack for having some female object characters, or like game nudity, or like Lara Croft Tomb Raider, who's people always say, oh, well, she's just boobs and ass, and, you know, she also raids tombs, but maybe they're right. She is definitely very attractive. And that does seem to be her primary function as a character. But one thing I've noticed, and you can see this as well in things like The Little Mermaid, and where they do these colorblind castings, which definitely like aren't colorblind at all, because you can tell they're about as colorblind as Biden's Supreme Court justice pick as a black woman, or his vice president. They're about as colorblind as President Obama was a president-elect. So why am I bringing all this up? I'm saying basically that in the search to, I guess, bring more acknowledgement to different groups, people who are ideologically motivated will bring in a gay character, or the characters in World of Warcraft were just like, they were gay. And my problem isn't that they were gay. And I was trying to explain this to people about why my problem with The Little Mermaid wasn't that she was black. And people always made fun, oh, you care about children's shows, you care about characters in games, why does it matter to you if she's black? I'll tell you why it matters. Because refer to that quote in the beginning. A rifle should not be on the wall in a scene unless it's fired in the next 2 scenes. William Shakespeare. When you make a conscious effort to put something in a show, to put something in a game, it should have a telos. It should have a purpose beyond walking up and saying, hey, look, I'm gay. Or, hey, look, I'm black. Or, hey, look, I'm a woman. And these characters, like, okay, so if I were Blizzard, right? Or if I were the people designing The Little Mermaid, or if I was designing any show, any literary work, any game, anything, any book, let's say I was trying to put in a vegan character to be inclusive to vegans for whatever damn reason. Would I put a vegan character in the show and have him come up and just like, hey guys, I'm vegan? No, that would be weird. That would be pointless. You know, one thing I've often thought about the gay community is this fixation on sex. It's like, if you identify yourself as where you put your penis, like if that's the heart, if that's the central cornerstone of your identity, is where you put your dick, what does that say about your character as a human being? Like if you walked up to somebody who is gay, and most people who know gay people or hang around areas where there are gay people know people like this. You get the mentally ill gay guy who's dressed in like a what's it called, a carnival clown, and his like he goes and talks to every guy, whether they're interested in guys or not, and he'll just go up and say, hey, you want to fuck? And people like that are absurd, and people like that are obnoxious. And why are they obnoxious? It's because they objectify themselves, because they solely identify as their sexuality. Like, for all the left saying, "Oh, women are more than their genitals. Women are more than what's between their legs. Women are more than a pair of ass and tits." It's like, okay, well, what's a gay guy then? Well, a gay guy is a person who puts his dick in another man's ass. Okay, he objectified himself. He is a boring ass character. He has no character arc. And these characters are just the same in this game. It's like, if you're bringing in, like, if let me just summarize, because I think I'm repeating myself here. But if you're the type of person who thinks people should be more than their physical biological attributes, if you're a person who thinks people should be more than their sexuality, more than their genitals, more than their some shallow surface level, more than their skin color, more than some shallow surface level identity feature, if you think people should be real characters, and you get mad when people objectify each other, and you are a literary worker, you work in the production of stories, whether that's in Hollywood, in game design, in writing, anything, please, for the love of fucking God, do not use this like new age garbage trope of saying, of bringing this like gay guy in, this gay character, having him go, "Hey, I'm gay," and then leave. Don't, any more than you would bring in a woman to be, "Hey, I'm a woman, fuck somebody," and leave. It makes no sense. It's degrading, and like, it's ridiculous, and it's hypocritical. And all this like bringing awareness to people, you know, it would be a great way to show, if you're really interested in awareness and inclusivity and whatnot. You should have the person just like mention it as an aside. Like, they've got this great narrative arc, they've got this great story. You never hear anything about sex or any sort of lower function or anything. And then all of a sudden, you know, they just sort of like toss it in once. It's like, "Oh yeah, no." Somebody's like, "I didn't know you were gay." It's like, "Oh yeah, whatever." And then they go right back to just being awesome. Nobody would give a shit. I mean, it would still be pointless, because you're just like, you basically objectify them in that moment, or you objectify that part of their identity. But it would be a lot less annoying than just having a character run in, be like, "Hey, I'm gay," be like the token gay guy, and it's like, "Oh yeah, okay, well, Blizzard wins, they get their check mark from the California Bureau of Diversity or whatever." It's like, don't use affirmative action to create filler characters for your literary work. It's really, really, really sloppy. And that's why I have a problem with them interjecting random marginal identity features into games. Anyway, that was my take on that, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks.